Hello, it's showtime. We are yet rolling again on another Corporate Women in Leadership program, and this is going to be an interesting time. We're going to be having an interesting time today. So, I know your expectations, and just like always, it is going to be another very powerful, very inspiring edition with top speakers and people with over 50 years of combined experience, and they'll be sharing it with you today. So if you are joining us, please make sure you tag your friends, make sure you share the link, make sure you're ready to share knowledge with your community, with your friends, with your family. It's not all the times that you get quality information for free, but this time, just like always, it's going to be an amazing time with us. The topic for today is networking. How do you use networking to access that career level that you want to get to? How do you even network? Is it the key skills that you need to have? You will find these questions or you will find the answers and more on today's editions of Corporate Women in Leadership online forum. If you're joining us, my name is Adeline Sedekamga. I'm the CEO of Faber Frick Media Group, and I'm also the founder of the Corporate Women in Leadership. Before we commence, just like always, I'm going to share a little video with you so you have an insight into some of the things that we've been doing and some of the things that we've done in the past. So stay with us while we start this very, very inspiring and extraordinary session. That was
As executive director for this program, I want to encourage most women to come on board and help support the younger ones who want to grow into leadership positions. They do not know how to go about it. We have a lot of elderly women out there who are in leadership positions, who have a lot of expertise, experience, and who have gone through a lot of challenges. Passing down this support to the younger ones will encourage them, because the young ones today who are aspiring do not understand the challenges that most women face either in their workplace, in their homes. So linking mentees and mentors is just a platform to encourage communication, exchanges, so that the mentee opens up to the mentor about the challenges that they have at their workplace, at their home. Then the mentor advises, supports, orientates, and develops her. Last year it was a success. This year we have more mentors coming on board, willing to give support to mentees. Next year I'm encouraging women, professional women in agriculture, in architecture, in medicine, legal, insurance, to come on board and pass on their experience to the young generation. This is a way that women will have to fill into our shoes after we have left. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us today. As usual, we've prepared a very, very interesting topic for you. Our topic for today is networking, how to network your way to the top. Is this the right time to have conversation on networking? We know the world has shut down. In the last 6 months or the last about the last 6 months, things actually became slower when China announced the COVID-19, and now things are just picking up. Some people feel that they might need an extra push. Some people already have an extra push. So we started this online forum because we want to encourage women who are at home to take their career into their hands, to continue to do the things that they always do, and to truly just progress, to where they want to be like. Over the past few months, we've covered different topics from how to develop yourself while you're on lockdown, to financial security, emotional intelligence, training and development. I mean, we've talked about basically everything, or most of the aspects, most of the things that you need to get you to the next level. We thought it is a natural progression or a natural growth for us to handle this conversation today, because some people need to be encouraged, some people are discouraged, some people need to understand the core skills that they need to fly to that level. So we put together two very amazing speakers who are going to wow you today with their expertise. They're going to be giving you key points that you will need to consider when networking and how to network. Before I start, I would just like to pop a little banner on my screen so you see who our speakers for today are. Of course, you already know, but here we are. So I'm going to be giving the little bio of our speakers, and then I'm going to bring them on our screen so that the conversation can start. If you're just joining us, I am Adelise Kamga, and you're watching the Corporate Women in Leadership online live stream forum. Please, can you share? Can you tag? And can you invite your friends, your families to follow this up? So let me introduce Letty. Apart from the fact that Letty has been working in the insurance and reinsurance sector for such a long time, she is a strong community leader. She is one of those top female leaders we look up to. I mean, every young woman should look up to a woman who have made it to the top, or a woman who has opened up and is willing and available to give our hand-down expertise and knowledge. Letty Ndeli is the Central Director for Anglophone Africa, Asia and Latin America, Sikare Lomé Togo. She has over 25 years of experience in the insurance and reinsurance industry. She has a record of achievements in senior management positions, including Chief Underwriter, Anglophone Africa in Sikare, and Regional Director for African Markets and Managing Director, Continental Ray Cameroon. Apart from that, I would love to say Letty is our first or our second ever executive director for the Corporate Women in Leadership program. She has been on board since we started as a board member for the Corporate Awards, which is a parent organization for the Corporate Women in Leadership. I think she has already dedicated a lot. So for her to accept to speak today is truly a bonus. And we want to use this opportunity to tell her thank you for all the things that she has been doing in the past. Our next speaker today is Mr. Jude Ayingo, graduate from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in 1984. He has a BSc in marketing, but I know Jude in a very different capacity. I know him as an expert in the oil and gas sector, which is the sector he is in now. He works with Colle Cameroon, which is normally called, or which we popularly know as MRS, but I bet you they do a lot more than just fuel station. And having him to speak to us is I don't want to say kind of different, but yeah, it's different because we mostly have women talk to us. But we had a few meetings in the past and we've agreed we cannot deny the fact that men are better networkers than women. we cannot truly deny the fact that men are better networkers than women. So there's no point in talking networking if you don't have a man on your panel, is there? You're right. So we thought it wise to bring a man because most often we say we want to get to the board. We want to find our way to the boardrooms. And we must also understand that in order for us to get to the boardrooms, we need guardians. We need to speak to the right people. We need to connect with the right people. And that is one of the benefits of networking, connecting with the right people to help you get a seat in that boardrooms. So between Letty and Jude today, I am sure we're all going to have a fantastic session. But before I pop them on the screen, I want you all to understand that the Corporate Women in Leadership Live Forum is powered by Fab Afrique magazine. This is an African lifestyle magazine published and distributed in the UK and in most African countries. So I'll just give you a less than 1 minute video of the Fab Afrique magazine. And please, if you feel like you want to have a print copy, let me know. Pop us a behind the scene message and we'll reach out to you. There you go. There you go. That's Fab Africa Magazine, 10 years in print already. Aren't we proud? We're so proud of our achievements and the fact that we continue to do these things. So let me stop talking and put our guest on the screen. I'm going to start with Jude because, of course, he's the man. I know they say ladies and gentlemen, but in this case, we want to give him all the honor. We want to welcome him on our screens as we sing. Hello, Jude.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
I'm good.
I'm good. It's so nice to have you, from across the Atlantic, speaking with us today. And to be honest, you're one of the first men to hit our platform. We're so proud of that. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Great. So you are checking in from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Yes. Lagos, to be precise.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. Now let me pop Letty as well so that the conversation can start rolling. I will just bring her in. Hello, Letty.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, I'm just going to mute these two mics so we're not. Okay. I know.
There's a background sound. There's an echo.
Is this better? Okay. Is it better? Okay, I think we have a Letty, what you need to do for me is that I see you log on to 3 different devices. So if you can close one or two, if you can close 2 of them in the meantime, having them on standby, then I think the sound will be better. Can you do that for me? So I can kick this one out of the studio, yeah, and I will remove this from the studio as well. I will remove that from my studio as well. Okay, I think for some reason you can only log on all 3. So let me get you back on the stream and see how it goes. Okay, is it better? Can I hear you now? Okay, I think I know what the issue is. I'm just going to try and fix this in the background. But before, I'm just going to try and do this. Okay, I'll do that as well. Okay, I think we should be fine now. Hello, Letty. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you too.
Can you see Jude?
Yeah, I can see Jude.
Perfect. So I think we're ready to go. So how are you today? And you're checking in from Lome, right?
Yes, I'm checking in from Lome too.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us. You've been a very, very key supporter in the Corporate Women in Leadership Initiative, the things that we've done, the places that we've been to. I mean, we've been to Gabon, you've been with us in spirit in Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire. You've been a very, very strong part of the Corporate Women in Leadership, and to have you speak to our audience today is truly an honor for us, the entire team. And we want to say thank you for agreeing to speak to us. And yeah, so how is it in Lome? How is the atmosphere in Lome? COVID-19.
Yeah, Adeline, thank you very much. I'll say we are stable here. It's been a very tough time with COVID, trying to confine. Of course, Togo is like most of African countries that cannot afford total confinement. So there was a partial confinement. But even with that, there were a lot of very strict measures that were put in place, in respect of the WHO social distancing measures, and all of that were put in place. So I think the country is coping well, and even as at now, I will say there are no many new cases. Yeah, so the situation is stable. The situation is stable, and many more people are getting healed, and fewer deaths. So I would say it's promising for us.
With regards to yourself, what are some of the things that you've done during this lockdown period? I mean, it's a very as we put it, it's a very personal moment, and people have used this time to do so many things. What are some of the things that you've been able to do during this time?
Well, personally, I just yeah. So I'm a bit new here. Well, personally, I've just been respecting all the measures that have been put in place by government, but we have been working in Sikari. We have been working because, well, Togo, as you know, it's a small country, it's a small population of about 8 million people, with an area of about 57,000 square meters. So, with fewer people, I think it's easier to contain. So I've been going to work and just respecting all the measures. And the Sikari to the office were in a very big building where almost everybody has their office, so social distancing actually is not an issue, but we've been respecting all the measures, It's, personally too, I'll say my heart goes out for all our viewers out there who lost loved ones, family, friends. Yeah, well, I did not lose anybody, and I'm thankful for that. But my sympathies goes, to all of those people out there who lost people.
I know it's been a very tough time for some, very tough time for many, and we're just hoping that the numbers will continue to shrink down and things will come back to normal. Although there's a speculation that things are never going to come back to normal, so we just wait and see how it goes for real. So
Indeed, we pray.
exactly. So let's pop Jude. Hi Jude, how is Lagos today? How is it? How is it in Nigeria?
Well, let me first start by thanking you for your warm introduction and for inviting me to this event. I'm highly pleased. As for Lagos, since I came back on the 2nd, hello, are you there? Hello?
We are right here. We've just put you on the screen
Hello?
so that we can see who is speaking. So we are right here. Letty and I, we are right here. We just projected you alone on the screen so that the spotlight should be on you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Yes, we are here. We are here.
So I started by saying that I'm very grateful for this opportunity to come and speak, and for a kind introduction. Now, as regards how Lagos is with respect to COVID, I'm not in a position to say because since I returned from Cameroon on the 2nd of July, I've been quarantined in my house. So I do not go out. I do not receive visitors. But from what I'm seeing on the news, I know that the government is working so hard to contain this disease. And I hope that Nigerians will comply.
We're all hoping that Africans will comply, not just Nigerians, because it's been it's a bit of an issue trying to get them to really follow guidelines and things like that. So personally, is your company doing anything to help curb the spread? Have you done some initiative, towards the COVID?
Are you
Yes,
talking to me?
Yes, Jude, I'm speaking. Yes, I'm talking to you. Just asking if your company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, my company, Collet, immediately this broke out, we raised a committee. We called it COVID-19 committee, which I am chairman of the committee. Basically, we looked at the business continuity plan to ensure that the business ran despite the disruptions. So what we started with was first to cut down the number of people physically in the offices around Cameroon. Yeah, we cut down to about less than 30%. And the other workers were working from home. Then the ones that physically come to the office close at 3 o'clock. Reason being that the 5 o'clock that we usually close is the peak period for traffic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So we decided to be closing at 3 o'clock. And besides that, we ensured that all our staff were supplied with the PPEs.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had sanitizers, everybody had face masks. We have infrared thermometer at our facilities, all the entrances to our facilities. We gave gloves to those who need it. And then maintain social distance.
Of course, important.
Then stop physical meetings. Yeah, I think those are things. And then I think finally we had to decontaminate the offices.
So I think that is truly I mean it's the right way to do it, because some people are so used to physical meetings, they're used to doing things, but if a company puts a structure in place like what you've done, I think that is one of the easiest way to help stop the curve and to help people understand that it's not just what you see in the TV. COVID-19 is real and it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anybody. So thank you so much again. And let's see how we can get into our topic of conversation today, because I'm sure we have a lot to handle. Let's start with networking. Do you think this is the right time? I mean, do you think the conversation on networking is essential? It's a conversation that we should be having at the moment? Do you think this is the right time for us to have this conversation?
Absolutely. It's an essential conversation to have at the time. Networking is simply a process of other people, to education and then develop social contacts and professional contacts. I give you two examples. At the time when I was working in an oil trade firm, we used to attend what they call IP Week, International Petroleum Week in London. At this event, have all the stakeholders in oil trading and even marine gathered in parts of London, various meetings and cocktails. So that was opportunity for people to and know each other. Now, before attending that meeting, you had reason to send an email or make a call to any of those companies. Nobody. But at those events, you get to meet people from different companies and interact and know each other. By the time you get back to Lagos or to your destination, to your home, the relationship is built.
Exactly.
So you can close deals.
It's all about closing the deal.
Then one other experience I had was attending a bumping conference. It afforded me also opportunity for this kind of networking. At that conference, I met somebody I never believed I could meet. And finally, he was invited to my company then in Lagos. And he came and added so much value to our company. That was the result of interaction, networking at an event. So
it's an essential conversation to be having.
It's very essential conversation to have at this point.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I think you're quite right, because most things happen after you meet the right person. Most things happen after you meet the right person. Now let's talk about the attaining leadership. Let's see. I'll come to you. Do you think networking is an essential step towards attaining leadership position, for example?
Yeah, thank you, Adeline. Before I start, I want to thank you for inviting me and having me to talk on the Women in Leadership platform that's been organized by Corporate Awards. Thank you very much. Yes, I think it's very important for career development because networking supports and improves success in organizations. You see, Adeline, there's a soft part and a social side of a performance that, if well adopted, can lead to growth in organizations. In this day where organizations are vying for increased market shares and market dominance, we live in a very, very competitive business environment. So managing interpersonal networks are vital for any organization to grow and for anyone to aspire to be a leader. You know, when you network, you become a lot more informed, you become a lot more creative, and you become a lot more efficient and a better problem solver. So yes, I think networking is very, very important for all of us, and especially those of us who are in business. It's very key. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Letty. Let's talk about the right time. Let's talk about introduction. When we talk of networking, sometimes we are not sure, you know, people go to a networking event and, you know, they're not sure about how to introduce themselves, how to project themselves, the things to say. You know, based on your experience, what do you think should be, you know, part of the introduction? What elements should you include when you're introducing yourself, you know, at a networking event?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, how to start? Well, I don't think there's a place. Everybody can start a networking. You know, from when you get your job to when you start working, when you start climbing the ladder, you know, at every point in time, I think it's very important that, you know, there should be some networking, because what's networking? I mean, it's about communication, it's interpersonal skills, and most companies today, you know, even most professional companies are also commercial. You know, so it's very, very important that everybody should have these skills. And actually, there's no entry points. You know, there's no entry point from when you leave school. Even as a student, it's very important to get this, you know, networking skills, because you might use them to get a job, and even now when you are in the job, you will use them to grow. Nobody is an island. We all are because of somebody. You know, so it's very, very important to use all these skills, contacts, communications. Yeah.
So what
Thanks.
I meet you at an event and I want you to I want to network with you. There are some certain things that I should already have in mind, and I want to create an impression. I want you to remember me. I want you to want to talk with me. So how do I introduce myself to you? What should I take into consideration when planning to go to a networking event, when planning to meet someone?
Yeah, Adeline, thank you very much. I like the word planning. I like the word planning because networking should be very strategic. Networking should be very strategic and well planned. You don't just move into a networking platform because you might not know what it's all about. So before you move into any platform, it's very, very important that you know what you're going there for. Networking is about it's about exchanging values. It's about exchanging interests and what you're passionate about. So if you move into a networking setup, the first thing is look around the people. There might be people you know. Yeah, there might be people you know, because even while strategizing or planning, you should include the people you already know, because you have to improve on your relationship with them or improve on your business with them. And those you need to know, so hang around with the ones you know first, then look at the name tags. In most business forums, people wear name tags with their names on it. It's important. You can move on to them, greet them, call them by their names. It's very important because it leaves a lasting impression. People feel good when you address them by their name. It means that at least you have done some research about them. So, these are little tips that could impact positively when you move into a networking platform. Of course, there are things too that you should not do. I saw some people carrying tags that have their resume on them. That's it was very surprising for me. Just your name, your title, maybe your location, that should do. Then some people too, when they come in, they just plant themselves in front of the door, waiting for their targets. So I think, people should move around, circulate, make friends, communicate to people. Yeah, those are the things. Then when you get to the conversation, it's very important to know the other person's interests. What are they passionate about? What are they passionate about? When you know what they are passionate about, then you should be able to help them. And I'm sure that too should improve on the conversation. So, it's very important that you don't dominate the conversation as well, because you want to learn about the other person and you want to be of help. You want to exchange interests and values with them. So it's important that you don't dominate the conversation, and that you let the other person talk and just be a good listener. You pick a lot from, that kind of attitude. And of course, do it with a smile on your face.
I like the smile on the face, but thank you, Letty. I think you've mentioned some key things which I feel we all should take note, especially the two-way things. Networking is a two-way activity. So you shouldn't dominate. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about both of you. So learn the person before you go. You plan. So you plan on exactly who you want to meet. You plan on maybe your keywords, how you want people to look at you, who you are. So before I come to find out what you think about the last two questions, I just want to welcome some of the people who've joined us today, and I want to pop some some comments on the screen so that you can see that we have people who've joined us and who are actually watching. So Noella says, hello, always a pleasure joining in from Germany. Yes, Germany is in. Hello from Germany. That's Noella. Masango Marion, we here again all the time. Masango, can't wait to listen to Mr. Jude, a Toastmaster who inspires me. Amazing. Jude, you have someone in the audience who is, your admirer. Hey, girl. Hi, Goretti. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, we also have Nora who says, hi, sis. Hi, Nora. Thank you for joining in. And Marion again says, wow, 10 years in a huge milestone. Congrats to the team. Thank you. Guess that's for the Tabafrid magazine. Okay, it is excellent now. I think that was about the sound that we have. We have Delphine who is checking in all the way from Lomé. Big Sis Letty, I can see you too. Let's pray the network doesn't mess up. Exactly. Ramses says, I'm checking in from Bangui. Hi. Pascal says, hello, Madame Endeli. Great. Delphine says, networking permits you to be more informed, more efficient, and a better problem solver. I catch that. Retain, big sis. And Noella says, the power of name tags and identifying networking. Thanks, Mrs. Endeli. That's good. Laura says, hello from Paris. Thank you for this event. Thank you, Laura. And then Nuella again, the power of name tag in networking. Thanks for the tips. That's another thanks for the tips. So yes, we have some people in the audience watching and listening, and we are just getting into this conversation. So thank you again for joining in. Let's bring Jude on the screen. Let's find out what he thinks about introduction when it comes to networking, and if he has anything to say about networking being networking being an important part when you're gaming, or when you're eyeing, or when you're aiming at a leadership position. So over to you, Jude. What would you say about first, networking when you're aiming for leadership position? Is it important? Second, what's your introduction? What are the things what are some of the elements that you might want to introduce to introduce when you're introducing yourself in a networking event?
Okay, thanks for that. I think Letty had done justice to it. But like you said, 80% of success in life is just showing up. So to grow in your career, you need to really show up when it matters. And when it matters is having to attend such opportunities where you can meet and greet people who have achieved a good deal in your career or profession. It is very critical that you join perhaps your professional association. If you're a banker, you have association of bankers. So if you're at any position, for instance, you're a cashier in your bank, you want to aspire to be the MD of your bank in the next 15 years, it's possible. Begin to be visible at events where you can meet people, interact with them, get mentorship, direct you on what to do and what not to do. And as regards getting introduction to any person you want to meet, there is really no hard and fast rule about it. But every person has his or her own style. It's like asking a man how things you do toast a woman. I think you need to hone conversation skills. Okay, you meet somebody at a cocktail. You can even start by saying, "Hello, my name is Jude. What's yours? I like your shoes." You begin to talk about fashion, or the wine you're drinking. What's the origin of the drink? From there to another. So basically, it depends on one's style. There is nothing set in stone about starting a conversation, but it's a skill that one needs to get to train And like we do at Toastmasters, it's one of the things I recommend to any person aspiring for leadership to join Toastmasters. It's one of the skills you learn at our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude. So we've heard about Toastmasters, and I'm very keen on the Toastmasters Association in Douala. You know, the first time I was invited a few months ago to speak, I was quite impressed. I was extremely impressed by how fluent, you know, they express themselves, and how much information they have about networking and about showing up. So I think what you said about 80% of success is showing up. The moment you show up, there is something you must take away from there. The fact that you've shown up means there's something you will take away from there, and that's a fact. So we should all try and see how we can incorporate showing up into our everyday. So when we talk about showing up, it's not just about showing up, but it's showing up where it matters, you know. So I think I've picked up some key points as well, and I'm sure our audience have as well. So let's go to the next question, which is more on, let's say, I think I'll pull back on you in this case. Um, our next question is more on, okay, our next question is more on the size of networking. Sorry, not the size, but I want to say the style of networking. Is it one size fits all? Does it mean the way you network in this event is the same way you're going to network in that event? Does it mean a pilot should maybe network the same way a teacher should? So is there a clear cut rules and regulation of networking? So I'll pop you on the screen and I'll let you tell us.
Thank you very much. Adeline. I think on this one size does not fit all. One size can't fit all. It's true, networking is an exchange of values, but everybody has their values and everybody has their interests at stake. You know, so you need to be able to recognize what is it you have to give to the other person, as well as what you want from the other person. As I said before, you need to, you know, be strategical and target your activities, because not all networking events are equal. As you rightly pointed out, you know, a land transporter will not have any business attending an aviation networking platform, even though all of them are transporters. You know, so I think in networking, we should know what we want. We should know what we want, and we should know what to give to the other person, because it's an exchange. It's an exchange. So you need to be very, very peculiar about how you go about it and what you go about it. So there, one cap cannot fit all. It's not one networking platform that will be suitable for any other person to attend. It's important that you do your homework before, understand the networking platform, what's it all about, before you step in there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think it's about what you want in a networking, to be honest. It's about really what you want, and it's about one size not fitting all. So I remember having this same conversation with Letty a while ago, and we talked about a teacher or a doctor in a in a teaching networking platform, and let's say except he's thinking of teaching. And but let's see, we also discussed something about um you know the person. For example, I know we've mentioned where you want to be. So what about the position that you hold in a company? Would it affect or would it influence the way you network? For example, if you're a bank or an insurer, would you limit yourself to sector networking because the other sector is not really your sector, or do you think there is an opening for positions that you have in a company?
I said, most businesses have a commercial side to it. Most professional businesses, I'm an insurer, and there's a commercial side that's tied to my business. I need to go and meet my clients. I need to network with them. I need to bring in more clients, and that is how I grow my business. That's how I grow my business. So as a leader, it's very, very important that everybody does some form of networking. And networking too should, it should be at every level. Every level should have their kind of networking forum. It's every work level should have their entry points in which to network. You don't just, all networks are not just out there for you, but at the management level, I'm sure you can attend a lot more of these networking sessions because what it does, it gives you exposure. It gives you exposure, and as a manager, you need to know everything that cuts across everything. So it's added value. It's added value for you as in a managerial position to attend them. Well, if you have the time to spend, why not? Thanks.
I like that if you have the time part, because sometimes we spend most of our time just going around and networking and not knowing. I mean, this is an aside, but I remember when I first moved to Africa a few years ago, I registered on so many platforms. You will see me everywhere trying to make contact. I think at that point, I would say I was kind of learning the ropes again, because I've left Cameroon a long time ago and it was kind of new, so I had to to network my way. And let's say we also discussed about the personality and how how it influences the way we network. But I'm sure we're going to come to that. So let me bring Jude on the screen and let me find out from him first, if he thinks there's one size fits all, if he's support with you that there's no one size fits all, that is all has to be tailored. And secondly, if he thinks there's a right time to network. So Jude, first thing I want to find out from you is, do you think there's a right time to network, or let's just say there's a level and you need to network at every level? So from your perspective, do you think there's a right time to network? And secondly, do you think there is one particular style in networking, or do you think there has to be a mix and match depending on what you want?
Okay, thank you. I think I will have a little bit of divergent opinion from what Leti said regarding if the networking varies from industry to industry. I do not think so. It does not. The clear sense for networking, the underlying principle is the same thing from industry to industry. It doesn't change. Because what is networking? Networking is having to interact, socialize, make new contacts. So if you are a pilot, you have no business going to what teachers are doing, unless, of course, you have something related to education that we're going to check out. That is where you can go to as a pilot to interact with teachers. Okay, but definitely the principle of networking is the same no matter the industry you're talking about. Now, when is it necessary for somebody to network? I would say for those who are working, who have jobs, right from the one that you got that job, you should start networking. You should start networking internally and externally. Internally, within your company, you must try to build your personal brand, which will entail good interpersonal skills, interpersonal relationship with your colleagues and your bosses, because everybody is watching you. Okay, so you need to have a good network of colleagues. Now, externally, you must have your long-term goal, your career path. What do you want to achieve? If you're an accountant, what do you want to achieve as an accountant? I will advise that you find your professional association and join. At that place, you can meet more experienced people that can guide you all the way. All right? I don't know if I've answered your question. Is there another one I haven't answered?
No, you have, and you have answered the question, but I just want to, from what I understood, I mean, I'll come back to this answer, but from what I understood, Letty's point is, it's not necessarily you don't have no business, but you need to find out, as you have just mentioned lastly, what is it you want to achieve? Are you in the sector where you need to be at a pilot, if networking events, even if you're not a pilot? So I think there was a little bit of, but yeah, that's fine. I totally understand. You've said something which I feel we should explore a little bit, because believe me, most of the people who are watching us and those who are going to watch us after these are corporate professionals that are looking at growing. And I know networking internally is a whole lot, it's something entirely different. I call it sometimes playing the corporate politics. So, Jude, can you please just give, for the benefit of those who are watching us or those who will be watching us, later, could you please give us a few tips on how to network internally? What are some of the things that you need to do? Because I know you've mentioned building your personal brand, and you've also mentioned building interpersonal relationship with your colleagues. How do we do this? How do we build our personal brand internally? How do we build a good interpersonal relationship with our colleagues? And how do we just network internally?
Okay. Like I said, networking internally has to do with your interpersonal relationship with people. If you come into an organization, first and foremost, you must be clear-minded from day one what you are trying to achieve. You need to also understand that organization, the structure of that organization. You need to understand the politics. Who wields the levers of power within the organization? Okay? You need to understand your bosses. Who are these bosses of yours? What could be their expectations of you? What are their do's and don'ts? What are their likes and dislikes? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? So you don't cross boundaries. And also, you have to try to be seen as a problem solver, somebody who is dependable. Give him a task or her a task, and he goes on to achieve that task, no matter what the obstacles are. Some staff are known for giving excuses. Okay, as a manager, you would have noticed some of your staff. You see, some are working more than the others because the company can't afford to waste time with somebody who is lagging behind. So most of the responsibilities are given to that smart staff who is a go-getter. And also, when it comes to meetings in the company, try to prepare properly for any meeting and talk when you're supposed to talk, but try to make very creative contributions. People are watching, your colleagues are watching, your bosses are watching, your supervisors are watching. So with this, your internal network is assured. And it's very important that if you have a cantankerous kind of character, yes, you will have people like that, you need to work on yourself, self-development, find help anywhere. If you have problem of temper, seek help, because all these are negatives that will make you get into trouble with other colleagues or supervisors. So some of those negative aspects of your life, you need to address them. And of course, you need to take care of your dressing, dress properly. You need to show that you're a neat person, you're organized, okay, and you're a person of integrity. So some of these things, if you get them right, I'm sure you won't have a lot of problems within the organization.
I'm totally
And finally,
happy.
pray hard also.
Pray hard also. Okay, go ahead.
Pray hard.
Prayer has to be a part of this, to be honest. Pray hard. So I'm totally happy I ask you this question, because sometimes we keep saying network from internally, but we don't know how to do that. So I'm sure all these points are points that we're going to use to create or to write that article which we've always wanted to write. Now, you also mentioned something about cantankerous and quiet person and personality. I think I'll pop Letty on the mic because the way she's smiling, there's something she definitely want to talk about personality when you're networking, be it internally or be it externally. So let's listen from Letty.
Yeah, thank you, Adeline. Thank you, Adeline. Well, you have people have their personalities. Everybody has their own personality. They are introverts, they are extroverts. Networking is not just for everybody. There are some people it comes across easily for them, but there are some too, they need to grow, they need to grow the skill. So how do you grow the skill? How do you grow it? I mean, it's I think it's even more harder developing a soft skill than developing a hard skill. With a hard skill, you're put into a box, you study, you can develop it easily, but soft skills, because it's not quantitative, it becomes a bit difficult to grow soft skills. But it's very, very important, that everybody at least try and develop these skills. So talking about personalities, there are some people it cuts across easily for them, but there are some managers who cannot stand a crowd, who cannot even stand other people, having an easy conversation with people, so it's very key. It's very key that, you want to network, you develop all those attributes that are necessary, so you come across easily to the person that to your target market. That's done.
Thank you, Letty. I think between you and Jude's feedback or response to the question, I feel we're going to write a book after this, because some of these things you can only say them so beautifully if you've experienced them. And I want to just, if you're joining us now, and for the benefit of not knowing what we're talking about how to network. We're talking about networking to the level that you want to be, and we've touched on external networking a lot, and we've just recently or just touched on internal networking. So the things that really caught my attention on the internal networking is before you even start. So this will also drive us to our question 2, which was about when is the right time to start. When is the right time to start networking? So we're looking at the minute you step foot into an organization, you need to be clear-minded. You need to, what is it you want from that organization? Where is it that you want to go? And then you need to understand the structure. You need to understand the politics. Of course, there's always a corporate politics. So we cannot say there isn't. There is always that corporate politics. Also, the level of powers. sometimes I tell myself, you don't need to be friends with the director. You might want to be friends with the director or secretary because she knows exactly which dinner it's going to be to. He knows his wife, his kids, his dog, and all this information that you might want to use for your benefit. So getting close to the secretary might, she might put in some good words on your behalf. So it shouldn't always be, but you need to know these levels, and know how you want to use them. You also need to know the expectations, what they like, what they don't like, and most especially, I'll come back to what Letty and Jude have said, you need to show up, dress up, play the part. When you talk of dressing up, what impression you want to give, how is it you want to be presented, how you want people to look at you. So we're also talking about in meetings, you need to be very expressive, you need to express yourself, they need to know, what you think, you need to contribute, because contributing will already place you in that she knows what she's talking about. Self-development is also key, especially when you have some weaknesses. As Letty put it, weakness in soft skills can really push you down. So you might know all the technical bits, you might be highly educated, but if you don't know how to use your soft skills to communicate your expertise or your educational knowledge, then there is truly no point. So immediate development for networking is truly important. So let's go to our question 6, and which is almost taking us towards the end of this. But we want you all, those joining us, you can always come back on the page and you can always listen to what has been said before. But now we're talking about someone looking at growing. Let's start with you, Jude. What advice would you give to somebody? I know you've mentioned some in the last question, but now let's take it to someone looking at growing the career ladder. Maybe we don't need to focus on just the networking part, but you might want to pull on your experience as well. How is it? What did you do to be who you are or where you are today? What are some of the core things that you mastered to really give you, to push you to where you are today? Career development, leadership positions. What advice would you give to someone looking at growing to leadership position? I think I'll ask you, Jude.
Thank you. To grow to leadership, apart from the points I made before, like Letty said, there is need for those soft skills to acquire the soft skills, apart from the certificates. For instance, if you aspire to be a manager and you cannot speak in public, you can't go further than that. So you need to find a way to get that skill. And like I said before, Toastmasters is a great place to be. Now, secondly, it is important that as somebody who wants to grow further in his career, that you pay attention to details. When you are given a task, make sure that you get full attention. No distractions. Focus on what you are given to do. If you have areas of, if I have some problems, ask. Make sure that you deliver. If you're given a deadline, every time make sure you deliver. It is important that your supervisor or your manager trusts you to deliver at any point in time. Again, like I said before, during management meetings, for instance, you may be interested to know that your managers are watching when you make contributions to any subject matter, they are watching you closely, but you may not realize that. So before you attend any meeting, of course, you know the agenda of the meeting. Get well prepared so that your submissions will be very meaningful. And you get to a point when your manager or your MD can even delegate you to represent him or the company in any event. It's not everybody that has that of privilege. For you to attend that shows how the company sees you or perceives you. So it's all real hard work. You need to think outside the box at any point in time. Do not see anything as impossible. Thank you.
I think we've just gone back to to a master class, and thank you so much. That was truly a masterpiece, and right a nail to to the question. Before we're going to ask you the same question, because it's very important for us to know. We know as a woman there are certain things that might be expected, and certain things that you might want to do differently from a man's perspective, or the same things. But before we come to that, let us see if we have some questions, which I think we have. I'm just going to pull on the screen some of the key points that we have, and then we can continue with the session. So networking should be very strategic. That's good. Stefano Monono, yes, know what you want in networking. Thank you. J Junior, key take home point: 1, know what you want. 2, make yourself available at functions which meet your aspiration. 3, be ready and able to speak up. Okay, now this is a question which I think we should look into. Could taking a less desirable assignment that others might not want be a good strategy for career exposure in an organization? Where are other networking strategies? What are other networking strategies from a personal perspective in advancing growth and career development? I think we should break this into 2. So let's look at taking, less desirable assignments and answer the question. Jude, would you want to answer that question, or do you think I should pass it on to Letty for now? Let's look. So should I take a less
desirable
assignment that others do not want to? Will it be a good exposure for me in a company if I do take a less desirable job or less desirable assignment?
Yes, it is important to do that. Because it shows that you are courageous. Never be afraid of failing. Take that. Try your best. Any boss will cherish such a staff who is never afraid of taking up any such tasks. If you fail, you get experience. So I'll say yes. Take it up.
Okay, so that's a yes. And what are other networking strategies from a personal perspective in advancing growth and career development? What are other networking strategies? So now I think this question might come because we've talked about internal and external. So is there any other thing we need to do while we're networking? Is there any other strategies we need to put in place? Okay, I think Letty is on that. I'll just put you on the screen, Letty. Okay, you're on the screen now.
Yeah, before we tackle the second question, I just want to agree with Jude that, you can't take a less position in every organization and grow on to be a leader. I know so many people who have done that, and today they are managing the institutions. Yeah, well, we live in an environment where jobs are where jobs are not easy to get by. So you might actually take that job and turn it around. I think it's just about being passionate about what you're doing. You can actually take this job, love it, be passionate about it, then you grow into it. I'm not a professional, I'm not a reinsurer, so I read law. I only came into reinsurance by chance, but I stayed in it because of my passion for reinsurance. So it can happen to any other person. It's just about, developing a love for what you're doing, be passionate about it, and making an effort to grow in that environment. So you can actually find yourself growing from a less privileged situation or position into a managerial position. It's all about you. Then second, sorry?
No, go on, that's fine. Secondly?
Yeah, well, all other networking skills, apart from what? Well, there are many other, they are internal, they are external. You talk of interpersonal skills, you talk of communication, you talk of empathy, So you need to develop all those skills for you to come across as a good networker. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, I think I think you have, but I'm just looking at Jude, and I think he has something to add as well. Or I think I saw him saying something else. Thank you, Letty. I think I love the fact that it is very important for us to understand that, be it an assignment or a role, it can actually turn around and put you where you had no idea you will get there. So it's important for you not to minimize any assignment that is being given to you in an organization, because this can, as Leslie said, this can turn around and explode right in front of you into something bigger than you ever expected. And besides, there are so many people with typical example. I just have someone who just sent me a message saying, just telling me his story and how he actually grew into a job, taking something small, and then I wish he would just come on and paste it. I hope he will paste it at one point. I'm just going to ask him to paste it so that we can share it with you all. And yeah, thank you, Letty. So let's see, Jude, would you want to add to that, to what she's just said with regards to one, the strategy? What are the other strategic networking? What did she say? What are the other strategic networking strategies from personal perspective? What are the other networking strategies from a personal perspective in advancing your career? I think this question must have been asked when we had already covered the key things that you've said, but maybe you want to do a recap, Jude?
Okay. The strategy for networking, it's not changed from what we already said. Basically, it has to do with your ability to start a conversation with somebody. You go to a cocktail party, for instance, and like Letty said, if you're an introvert, you really will find it difficult to interact. Okay, you need to come out of that shell. Do whatever you can to come out of that shell. You need to be an extrovert, or you can even fake it. Okay. So what will enable you to, it's your own style. You can start with, you're approaching somebody, you come up, smiling face, and just say, hi, my name is Jude. What's yours? What company do you work for? I work for this company, and this is what I do. You start off a conversation there. Some people do it so easily. Some people find it very difficult to do. So if you ask me about a strategy, there is really no strategy apart from the fact that you must hone your skill to be able to interact more easily with people. That is what is key there. If you have the problem of interaction, you have to work on it yourself. Find a way to come out of your shell, and that's it.
Thank you, Jude. Letty, I want to ask you about. I know Jude has. Okay, I know Jude started. I just need to mute our mics. I know Jude started the conversation on the advice given to someone looking at growing at their career. And I know, Letty, you've mentioned some key points in some of the different questions. In your own words, if there's someone watching us today, someone who thinks they want to grow, in their career, what are some of the advice that you should, or what is the advice that you will be giving them now at this point, in time?
Thank you, Adeline. Thank you. From my experience, I know that employees are increasingly looking for candidates with hybrid skills. Hybrid skills, I mean hard skills and soft skills. The two go together. If you need to be successful if you need to grow, get an entry point and grow into any organization, you need these two skills. And the second point is loving your job and what you're doing. It's very important. That's a very important driver, because if you're passionate about your job, about the little that you do, you have to grow through it. You naturally you'll be exposed to those things that will attract growth. So the first thing, be good at the hard skills, at the soft skills. Then when you get into the job, love what you do, apply yourself to it, be passionate, be focused, learn about the job, learn all what it takes to, grow about the job, and it might just happen for you.
Busy taking notes. I think it will happen for you. I'm busy taking notes because it's important we capture, we capture the moment. So I'll go back to growing into leadership, and I'll incorporate that into what you've just said. And so Jude and Letty, they've made some key points. You acquire soft skills, and bank on your degree. That's what Jude said. So you acquire soft skills, and then you bank on your degree. It's the same thing that Letty mentioned, but she calls it in a very posh way. It's a hybrid. So the soft skills and the hard skills will form a hybrid. So loving your job is something that that we also need to understand. Loving whatever you're doing, because at the end of the day, uh, this loving what you do, we rub off others. They will understand, they will see that you actually love what you're doing, and they will open more opportunities for you. Jude and Letty also talk about the focus. But one thing I'll love our listeners to to learn, or to take home with them, is network. You must be able to network. And Jude has given a great example of join a Toastmaster. Do you know what a Toastmaster Club is? I am sure most people do not know what a Toastmaster Club is. I never knew about a Toastmaster Club until 3 years ago, when I was hosting, or we were hosting, the corporate awards in Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire. And my partner said, "Oh, we have to hire a Toastmaster." I was like, "What is that?" I mean, I knew the word, but I just didn't know the important part that they play. Apart from teaching you how to speak, they are becoming more and more famous at big organizations. So he told me, if you're hosting a C-suite event and you don't have a Toastmaster, it might be difficult if you don't have the right skill set. This is because the events that we are hosting, the corporate awards, we bring together high level professionals, isn't it? We bring together top directors, leaders, and you want someone who can navigate their ways, around these people without losing their guards. And we reached out to a few Toastmaster, and the cheapest invoice we had was 17,000 US dollars. That's about 12 million, or I mean, that's like a lot of money. I was like, what is that? How much money they make? So when I was invited to speak at the Toastmaster Club, I told myself maybe I need to register, be part, grow my skills so that I can start, charging that much. I'm sure Jude makes a lot of money just by, speaking around and being a great Toastmaster. So we've all learned what it takes. We've all learned what it takes for us to climb that ladder. We've all learned what we need to do in order to network. I want to ask this question because I think it's important for us to ask this question. And I want to address this question to Jude. I'm sure it's a fresh question. We didn't have it on our list because I want it to come from internal, from within. Next week on this same platform, we'll be talking about sexual harassment, and because you're a man, unfortunately, you're here with us. I mean, Letty, you also have a part to play in this. Joe, do you think men would look at women networking differently from looking at men networking? For example, it's a corporate Christmas party, or it's a networking party, and the woman buys her ticket to go and network. Taking into consideration, in these networking events, you have top senior management, you have all the right people that you need to climb to the next career level. So, and we also know during some of these networking events, we have a few drinks that pops, and things might get out of the way. Do you think there's a different impression in the way people look at women looking at networking to the way people look at men networking? Joe, this is directly to you initially.
Yeah, it's what the reality of today. Man and woman is attracted to the man, no doubt, and I would say that should not deter any lady who is focused from pursuing her dreams. Definitely, when a beautiful lady approaches a man, the man is attracted. Some will go beyond the call of duty to do something else. Some will focus on the discussion at hand. But the lady also shouldn't lose focus. If she finds that the gentleman she was talking with is doing something very unwholesome, she'll just leave that fellow and move to the next person. Yes, that happens. But my attitude is that should not deter any lady from pursuing her career or pursuing her dreams. You definitely on your ladder, you meet such people. Not all men are like that, but if you unfortunately get in touch with such fellows, what to do is to switch off any such contacts. If you have had his card, tear it, don't get in touch with him anymore. So, yes, it's a reality of today, but it shouldn't stop any lady from being focused and following her dream. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jude. I mean, that's from a man's perspective, and we can all see that he's put out the points. Men will always want to take things the other way, so it's all left to the person who is at the receiving end. Now, let's see. I'm just going to ask you this question because you are a woman and you've managed to get to the position where you are today. Can you give me, have you ever been in a position where you have to compromise? First, have you been in a position where you have to compromise? Secondly, do you think women have it easier than men when it comes to networking? Do you think they'll respect men more than they'll respect women? And if so, a little example, I mean, a word to the young women also listening or watching us today will be helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Adeline. Well, this is reality. This we live in a real world and real things happen in it. You have two sexes. We are talking about. It can be probable that in some of the situations, unlike poles might attract. Well, these days too, like poles attract. But the issue here it's being focused and knowing what you want. It's very, very important for a woman who are even more exposed to our young girls who are very, very exposed. It's very important that they don't lose focus and they know what you want. Because compromising is going to dilute what you're doing. It's just going to remove the essence of what you do. So at the end of it, you lose respect, then you don't gain what you need to gain. So it doesn't actually enable you to grow the way you should grow. So it's very important that you keep your interest, you stay focused on what you want, and just like Jude said, if you realize that you are faced with a situation that could compromise you, it is your right to back up. It is your right to back up. Yeah, so my word to the young girls out there will be that, they stay focused in what they are doing and they hold themselves high. I don't see why anybody should compromise. I mean, because at the work level, it's the same work that you all do. So why would you compromise your position in a situation where you're going to, put in the same efforts? I don't think it's not a very good thing to do. It happens, but it's not a good thing to do.
Thank you very much, Letty. I think we've all heard. I mean, we've all heard from both speakers. This is something that is within our community, it's within our corporate environment, and it is going to happen. It happened yesterday, it's happening today, and it's going to happen tomorrow. So the key is for us to understand where we are, where we want to go to, and is that what we need in order to get to where we want to go? Or is there another option? What are the alternatives? Is this something that we need to sit back and wait? I know Letty actually has agreed to sponsor one of our program, which is to help educate. I mean, as a executive director of the Corporate Women in Leadership, which is to educate younger women at the junior level in their career, even those at the middle level, looking at growing. How to shove off the sexual harassment that they encounter, how to shove off bullying. This is going to be done at with as a documentary, which we're going to start in a few weeks time, and we just want people to share their experience about them being treated as a woman in a junior role, looking at growing and all these things that can psychologically really affect them. And if you're listening to us now, next week we'll be having a series of group of women talking about sexual harassment at work. And apart from that, we also have an occupational health, who is going to be specialist, who is going to be talking about what you need to do and what you need to do to get out of the depression mood, because sometimes some women are stronger than others. Sometimes some of them will just sink into it and be broken. Others are stronger. So if you're one of those women or woman who is not strong enough, then what is it that you need to do in order to bounce back? So I can't wait to host this conversation next week, Thursday, because I believe this is the right time. And I'm sorry, our speakers, because I had to bring this conversation in here. I believe we cannot talk about career progression without talking about where you are and these advances, because we know that this is a fact. This is something that is within our network. This has eaten so deep into the core of the leadership, you know, of Africa. Even, I mean, I was reading 60% of women in England file for sexual harassment at work. So it's not just Africa, but I think it's a bit of everywhere. So yeah, thank you so much for responding to that. Before we do the final version or the final words, let me see if we have any contribution from our network. Yes, we do. Um, I'll just read them very quickly because we almost, I think we should be closing now. I know I said 1 hour 30 minutes and it's 1 hour 30 minutes, but this was such an important and interesting conversation. We just overlapping a bit, maybe 2 minute max. So yes, work hard and pray hard. That's Noella. And monono temperaments truly affect introvert, extrovert. That is very true. Noella again, never be afraid of failing. Thank you, sir. Mimi, hi Mimi, thank you for joining. And Afa says, just what I need at this point. Tessie, well, one main strategy to show your employer that you are keen on your personal growth and development is by taking extra responsibility and other roles. That's correct. Delphine says, from passion to portfolio. That's quite familiar, but very daunting too. The risk is even higher. It's much appreciated when the job at hand is a core passion. That's very true. Thanks, Mrs. Endley. I'm more motivated. Thank you so much, Noella. And most importantly, it helps build your experience and exposure. The 3 E's are key to career growth: experience, education, exposure. That I agree with you 100%. If you can fake it, then you can do it. That's response to you, Jude. Fake it. Thanks, Jude. Passion is very important for me when accepting a job offer. Thank you, Mrs. Endley, for reinforcing this in me. Laura says, indeed, no compromising. Thank you, Laura. And Bong Fossey, sexual harassment is not only applicable to women. Some men do experience this, but are too shy to say. Respect has to go both ways. That is true. That is very true. And we have a man which we've approached already, and he'll be happy to share his experience with us. So I think it's important. So I agree with you. That's Laura. So yes, we have come to almost the end. But before we round up, Jude, have you got any final words you want to tell our audience before we wrap up? So key recap, we call it.
Okay. Thank you very much. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go far, go together. No man is an island. Try to be a team player wherever you find yourself. Therefore, increase your local network in your organization, as well as your external network. Like we said, tap into platforms that can enhance your leadership training. Like I said, Toastmasters, join social clubs like Rotary Club or Lions clubs, join sports clubs, golf, tennis clubs. At those places, you meet a lot of people and increase your network. Also, be active on the social media platforms, but be very careful the type of contents you upload. Remember that sometimes when you meet people for the first time and they exchange your cards, the first thing they do is to check you out on the social media to see the kind of person or personality you are. Read everything you posted there or pictures. So you have to be very mindful about what to do on the social media, but it's important that you're active on some of them, especially like LinkedIn, those ones that can enhance your career. Above all, I wish you well and thank you.
Thank you so much, Jude. It has been fantastic hosting you today. And there is one thing I tell anybody who comes on the platform. Once you've been on the platform, there's no going back. So know that as from today, we've adopted you. You're part of the Corporate Women in Leadership team. And please keep your doors open for us, because we're going to be hitting, knocking, scratching, pulling them down just to get you. Thank you. Let's hear from Letty. Letty, please give us your keywords as we round up for today.
Yeah, my take home is that networking is an exchange of values. So always keep that in mind. You know that when you go whenever you go into networking platform, it's an exchange of values. You need to give your best and you need to take your best. That's the only way you can grow. You can grow personally and grow the organization for which you represent. And the next thing is passion, passion, passion. Be passionate about what you do, love what you do, apply yourself, apply the 3 E's, like one of our viewers said. And of course, pray, pray, pray too. Thanks.
Mike on, thank you so much, both of you. I mean, I couldn't have asked for better speakers for this forum on networking at the corporate level, because you have truly exhausted, the key things that we need or that we will be looking at. So it has been a great pleasure hosting you, and I have gained a lot, rather than giving a lot. I think I've taken a lot. I know, Letty, you've just said take and give, but I think I've taken a lot more than I've given today. But I'll have to forgive myself, because that's some of the fringe benefits that comes with having a platform like this. So thank you so much, and hopefully you guys should know that we always come back knocking. So we'll come back knocking when the time is right, and we expect the doors to be open for us. So thank you both, and I will see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, bye, bye. So it has been the end, but before I go, I would love to thank you. This has been a very interesting session. I was a bit scared. When you're hosting very, very high profile personality, you have this tendency of, oh, is what I'm saying correct? Am I saying the right things? Am I saying the wrong things? I think today went really well. And your contributions as well was very, very timely. And I'll just pop some feedback, which I thought is worth sharing. Seducing your boss doesn't take you anywhere. Hard work does. That's very correct. And Noella, going home with a big smile. Thanks a lot for the input. Indeed, my people perish for lack of knowledge. We need the right knowledge to excel. Thanks, amazing team. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you, Noella. Thank you very much, Jude. Laura, key takeout, networking is a two-way street. Give your best, receive the best. Very, very correct. So next week, guys, make sure you are here, because we'll be talking about sexual harassment at work. How far should we go? How far should we go? We've come a long way. But what is the narrative? The global narrative. We'll be talking about that, but specifically we'll be talking about in our communities. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Sexual harassment, how far have we come? And secondly, networking. What is in need for you? And what have you got to give out? So I'll love you, I'll leave you, and I'll say see you next week. It's been Adeline Sede Kanga, and our host, your host for today, and our speakers for today were, I'm just going to pop their names so that you see. We have Jude Ayingbo, Chief Compliance Officer, Cole Cameroon, and Letty Endeli, Central Director for Anglophone Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Shika Ray Lome. Thank you, guys, and I'm going to love you. I'm going to leave you. It's been my pleasure hosting you. Bye.